Welcome to another session of Catholic Messenger Conversations podcast with Bishop Thomas Zinkula and me, Barb Arlen Fye, your host. And today I think we're going to talk about the connection between the sacraments and welcoming and belonging. Through our diocese synodal process, 3 themes have emerged: welcoming and belonging, youth and family engagement, and church teaching and tradition. This year, our diocese is launching a year-long focus on the first theme, welcoming and belonging. So, Bishop, I was just wondering if you could share with us how we can enhance the celebration of our Church's 7 sacraments within the framework of welcoming and belonging. I'm sure you could.
No, I do my best.
So I was wondering if we might start with the sacrament of baptism. Just show us how welcoming and belonging within that framework will enrich our understanding and appreciation of the sacrament.
Yeah, so the beginning, just looking at that sacrament, the ritual itself, at the beginning there's a rite of reception of the child at the doors of the church, ideally, the front doors, and so why that? Why there? Well, so it's because it symbolizes baptism as our first step into the church community, right? And so we have it at the doors of the church, and ideally, the baptismal font is right there as well. But in any case, so there's a rite of reception, welcoming of this child into our community, and I always find that a powerful time when we make the sign of the cross, the presider, or the celebrant, and the parents, and the godparents, and others can too as well. During that little rite of reception, they sign the cross on the forehead of the baby. Often it's a baby being baptized, and so then ultimately, we actually baptize the baby with water and everything. So we welcome that child there, and they take their first step into our faith community, and then. Maybe I've shared this before in these podcasts, but something I find really cool about all that is then every time that, we come to Mass, we make the sign that we put our hands in holy water, make the sign of the cross. We don't even think about it because it's what we do, but it's a reminder of our baptism, which began right there. And, so, we I don't know, and then we feel welcome, hopefully that we belong. Every time we do that, that's with that symbolic gesture. And then at the end of our lives, what do we do with funerals? There's a rite of reception of the body. Right. And it's right there, the same place. So this person's come full circle now. They've lived their life, hopefully a long life, and there's been and the sign of the cross and holy water every week, ideally, and maybe other times during the week. And so then we pull out our baptismal symbolism there at the funerals as well. We sprinkle the casket with holy water and put a white pall over which is a symbol of baptism, the white garment of baptism. So I think that's really beautiful.
That is beautiful. I'm wondering, how do we recapture that? When I go into Mass or into the church, getting ready for Mass, I don't often think about when I cross myself about that's the baptismal symbol.
Yeah.
How do we recapture some of that?
Well, first one thing is just to know that that's what's going on there. And we how many people think about that, know that, right. And then it becomes something it's intentional that becomes part of. When I do this, I'm always thinking about what I'm doing. I'm not good at that either.
Right.
Whatever in a rush, but to kind of be aware of symbols and kind of take ownership of them, and
I like that idea. Well, the other thing I wonder with baptisms, so many times I've seen them not done within a Mass. I've seen them outside the Mass. Why? Wouldn't it be better if we're trying to really enhance this idea of welcoming and belonging to have the baby or the person being baptized during the Mass?
Thanks for teeing that up, Barb. That's a big deal for me. It's so easy to just, we'll do it after Mass, a bunch of them, and have the deacon do it, and just kind of, and people have gotten accustomed to that experience, that's the normal thing. it's this family thing, sort of this kind of this little circle thing, which is fine. Domestic church, that's all fine, but it's bigger than that. So we've gotten used to that, and it's unfortunate. I mean, when I was my last parish assignment, I tried to do all the baptisms at Mass, all of them. I mean, you have to be smart about it. If you have them at all the Masses constantly, that's not good. But like one weekend a month or something, or it depends how many baptisms are. Maybe in a big, huge parish with lots of baptisms, you can't do this probably. But at least you could have some at Mass. And then, and couples would kind of, when you suggest that, they kind of, they're used to the other thing, and this seems foreign, and even though it should be normative, they kind of push back a little bit. But I talk them into it. Usually, I can talk them into it. I mean, sometimes you wouldn't if there's going to be a lot of people that aren't Catholic, and they shouldn't have to, sit through a Mass, whatever. But normally I could, and always it's like. It's just more powerful. People, there's little baby, and I always raise them up and present them to the community like, Lion King thing, whatever. But it's just a natural, normal thing, the spiritual father holding them up and presenting them, and people love it. And, I mean, there's this one woman one time that enjoyed that experience so much, her child being welcomed, by the community, that she said afterwards, I'm going to keep having babies so I can keep doing this. But then you do it, you can do it. The ritual's laid out there in the Roman Missal now, where you can, you don't have to do the creed, because the promise, the baptismal promises that the parents and godparents make, and there's, you don't have to do the penitential rite, and it doesn't have to be that much longer. You preach a little bit shorter homily, so it doesn't, people, oh God, there's a baptism, but really, we miss opportunities like that. And families that maybe haven't been practicing, not only the baby, but the family too feels welcomed. Yeah. And they belong here.
I have the wonderful memory of my oldest son being baptized, and that's been a number of years ago. And the priest lifted him up after he was baptized, carried that baby around the church, because he was baptized during the Mass.
Right.
And it was really cool, although I did worry a little bit about whether he might drop that baby. But.
Yeah, these two. I used to carry the baby around too. I'm not sure if that's the right thing or not. It's kind of my own thing, but anyway.
So, very good. So, any other aspects of baptism?
No, when we celebrate it well. Really, there's these, if it's going to be after Mass or outside of Mass, then okay, the doors of the church, and versus they all just kind of go and sit in one place. There's a journey you can take. There's the doors of the church, then you go to the ambo, and you have the readings there. So you actually journey. I make people walk. Oh,
that's nice.
Depending on the layout of the church. And then, okay, we're going to walk over to the baptismal font for the baptism, and the things around that, and anointing and stuff, and then conclude around the altar, where there's the Lord's Prayer and some blessings and things. It just is more active.
Oh, that's great. It's a journey.
Yeah, right. So there's things we can do that bring the sacraments alive.
I love that. So tell me about the Eucharist then. This is the source and summit of our faith, but many Catholics don't appear to have a thorough grounding in the real presence of Jesus in the sacrament. So what are some of the ways we can inspire Catholics to more fully appreciate the meaning of the Eucharist?
Well, I mean, if we want them to... if it's a welcoming and belonging kind of a thing that we're looking for, you sure are going to feel more a part of something if you understand what's going on.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't feel very welcome. So, I've been in my confirmation homily this season, which was concluded on last Sunday at the cathedral. I've been talking about Pope Benedict's document, Sacramentum Caritatis, the sacrament of love, which is about the Eucharist. And he talks about it being a mystery, to be believed, to be celebrated, and to be lived. So to be believed, that means we need to know what it is. If we're going to believe something, we need to know what it is, that it is the real presence of Jesus Christ, and it's his body and blood in the form of bread and wine, but it's his body and blood. So we need to know that, or we're not going to celebrate it very well.
Yes.
We're not even why even be there if we don't know what this is, that we're, if this is at the center of things for us as Catholics. So then if we know what it is and understand it and believe it and we're formed appropriately, then we're more likely going to celebrate it and really actively, that full active conscious participation that the Second Vatican Council calls for. And then that's just, that in of itself can cause people to maybe, that don't understand the sacrament that well, to want to know more about it. Because why are these people so excited about it and celebrating so fully? And then, if you believe that it's that in this mystery of the Eucharist, and you celebrate it well, we celebrate it well, we're more apt to go out to live it, actually, take it out into the world. And we've received Christ, we become what we've received, and to be Christ to others and to see Christ in them, and especially those in the margins, and help them to see Christ in themselves. And that's going to be something that I want to be a part of, right? That if there's a strong belief, strong celebration, strong living it out, that goes a long ways.
When I receive the Eucharist now, I always say this little prayer just ahead. You are a gift to me. Please help me to be a gift to others. I don't always follow through with that, but
that's good.
The idea that I'm receiving a gift and I have to return that gift, and it just makes me more conscious and aware of that I'm receiving something really special.
That's nice.
But I'm wondering, how do we help our Protestant friends to feel welcome to our celebration of the Eucharist?
Well, one thing we can do, the presider often will, and hopefully will, let people know when it's time to kneel, when it's time to stand, when it's time to sit. I say it's a funeral. There's a lot of people that aren't Catholic or whatever the situation is. So that's really important. And then, here at Ambrose, actually, remember President Dr. Novak there was a listening sessions that we had with the Synod, and she was hearing from Protestant or just, non-Catholic, non-Christian students that they feel uncomfortable at Mass. They don't know what to do. So they put together a little pamphlet. If you look in the pews there,
oh wow,
it's not long, but it just kind of says, here's what you do all the way through different times to welcome them. That's a simple
great.
thing.
Yes.
How simple is that? But they feel like they belong more, and that's because of that. And then communion rules, okay, it's time for communion, I don't know what to do, and so if there's a lot of non-Catholics at Mass, and, they can invite them. Well, you first say, okay, we invite all the actively practicing Catholics to come forward to communion, and then people feel rejected maybe because of that, but then you can say, but if you want to come up and cross your arms, you can receive a blessing. So then people feel more welcome than to be at Mass because of that.
I really appreciate when I see little kids do that, when they cross their chests with their arms. It's really sweet, because at least they've been told this is what you need to do. And I think that's a nice way to at least get them to understand that there's something special going on, and one of these days they're going to be invited to that sacrament.
Yeah. There are some people that don't think that we should be doing that. It's not in the ritual about the crossing arms or anything, and they have their reasons for saying that isn't something that we should do, but I'm fine with it. I think it's a good thing.
Okay, very good. I'm wondering, what are some of the ways to apply the welcoming and belonging framework in the celebration of the sacrament of confirmation?
Well, one thing with the candidates, when they're being formed for the sacrament, their preparation for it, I think we need to focus on not just the mind, kind of opening up their brains and dumping in information and knowledge and stuff, but also their hearts. Oh, because we need to help them come to know Jesus and to have a relationship with Him, and so so to have that experiences of prayer, whatever that might look like, and versus just, okay, here's what you need to know. They're going to feel more sense. They're going to be fully initiated in the church, right? So now they need to.
Can you explain the prayer? What kind of prayer are you thinking? Like,
I don't know. Young people, they like the silence of adoration.
Okay.
I mean, it could be that, like these days, and you know, and not just about, that's not just about confirmation, it's just about
Right.
being Catholic, period, or a disciple of Christ. I don't know. I remember one time with the confirmation class, I was a pastor of a parish, and I don't know, I was doing my thing one evening, whatever, I can't remember what exactly that was about, but I remember taking them to the Blessed Sacrament in the church. There was a place kind of where it was, it was kind of where you could go, there's chairs there and you could gather around there. And we had just a little bit of lighting, had some like candles, a couple candles or whatever, something like that, setting the mood for that. And then I played some Taze music.
Oh, that's nice.
We just kind of were sitting or kneeling or on the floor. And there was, what was that song I was playing? I can't remember. It fits that. It fit.
Right.
I can't remember what it was. But I mean, I don't know. There's nothing. It's nothing big or fancy about that, but just something about being there quietly with the Lord. And so I mean, it could be anything, whatever. You could give the students some options, some prayer experiences, or maybe you go on a field trip to, like in that case, we could go in the monastery. Hey, you want to go to the monastery?
Oh, yeah.
And this monk, you can tell us about things there. You can ask questions. Then we go to like night prayer, which is really,
Oh, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So just pulling them into it and trying to touch their hearts more. So anyway, that's one thing, and also pulling the parents into it. Anytime there's sacramental prep situations, to bring the parents into it, because a lot of times they're not practicing too hard, more often than not, right?
Yeah.
But here they have their kids in this, and there's something there. Why would they have their kids in this program? And so to evangelize, I mean, here you have a shot at them, right? And to teach them about the sacrament, teach them about there's more things about than that, just like about the church and whatever it is, and help them to form them.
But by getting them involved in some of the activities, for example, or
I don't know, maybe, but just separate sessions just for them.
Oh,
And
okay.
And some things you could do something with the students too. Yeah, the candidates,
Oh.
whatever. Just you figure it out. There's just be creative about it. People can be creative about it. I mean, more and more there's.
Oh, that's
People are talking about
fascinating.
family-based formation. It's really where it has to be. We can't just deal with the kids. And if it's not happening at home, we're not going to get very far. It's got to be, we've got to, kind of form their parents too. And so there's people are talking about that a lot, and people are trying different things. And it's hard to get them there, because they're so busy and, just drop the kid off and stuff. So it's really hard to attract them, but we need to work on that. And it's lifelong formation, and not just, okay, we do a little bit with when I'm first communion and confirmation, and then, nothing else. So yeah, parents, big time.
Maybe they could be doing those field trips to the monastery.
Well, yeah, you could, yeah. I mean, we just thought, I'm just sharing a couple of examples. It's, tons of different things we can do with them, and in terms of what we want to teach them. Well, what do we want to focus on? What is there some resources that we can use for that? Or, I mean, that's not my world. You have to talk to some of the experts on that.
That's right.
But yeah, my gosh, it's a missed opportunity if we don't do something with the parents as well, and do it really well. And then you celebrate the sacrament well. I mean, really well. And it doesn't have to be glitzy and goofy. Just do it well and dignified and grace-filled and whatever.
And the homily is a real teaching opportunity,
well, yeah,
isn't it?
Sure, yeah.
And, I'm wondering, some, if not many, Catholics seem conflicted about the sacrament of reconciliation. How can our celebration of this sacrament be enhanced through the welcoming and belonging framework?
Well, it would help to begin with to have a warm, friendly, kind, gentle, pastoral, loving, merciful confessor. That
Yes,
goes a
I would
long
agree.
ways, right? So that's
100%.
helpful. I haven't always had that in my life, but normally I do. And then again, if it's with regard to children, sacramental prep meetings for parents, right? Same kinds of things I was talking about with confirmation. Here's another shot at them, and to help them to understand this sacrament and invite them to receive. And not just the day of the of reconciliation, but actually be planting a seed, because a lot of them haven't received in years, and so and then have a really good, again, a great celebration of the sac, not just kind of going through the motions, but really do it well, and have good confessors that are like I described, and then and there'll be it's been a zillion years, and it's a good experience. It can be a turning point for them.
Oh yes.
So that's huge. But also how we present the sacrament. I mean, when I was growing up, it was a box.
Yes.
It was big time about sin,
very foreboding,
guilt, dark, really dark. That's why people, I think, once it kind of changed, it's like I'm out of here. But and so they haven't experience a better way of looking at that sacrament, which is about, there's sin. That's what gets us there.
Right.
But happy fault, whatever. But it's about forgiveness and mercy. I mean, even what do we call this sacrament? Sacrament of confession, penance. Okay, yeah, I get it. We need to repent. And I get all that, but
right.
Versus reconciliation. And mercy. I mean, it's so to present it in that way, and this is life-giving, and in the room, hopefully it's an inviting room, a reconciliation room that people feel comfortable in, and it's lighted and dark, and that goes a long way, in terms of just the image of God that we present in that sacrament. So it's not saying, okay, I know sin is, it's not ignoring that. It's, yes, that's there, but God is bigger than our sins, right?
Right. I received the sacrament of reconciliation at a parish during Lent that was just absolutely amazing, and it was started out as a communal penance service, but there weren't enough people there because the weather had been bad, and it was so wonderful. I mean, I got to sit next to the priest, and at first I thought, oh, this is a little intimidating. But he was so pastoral. He was so good. He listened so intently. And I left feeling uplifted. And that's not always an experience I have. And that was just, I won't forget that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you had that experience. There's not that many, most people aren't receiving the sacrament regularly, so which is really unfortunate, because it's a beautiful sacrament, and people are concerned about having to tell their sins, to somebody else, and I get all that, but it really makes it real, that that taking ownership of, okay, here are these sins, and then to experience God's mercy through the absolution and just the ritual, and to feel, on top of the world afterwards. It's a hugely powerful sacrament. Most priests are going to tell you it's one of the most fulfilling things they do as a priest, if not the most fulfilling thing, because just to be a conduit,
Right.
kind of to be a vehicle for God's grace to experience for people to experience God's grace, His mercy, His love through your ministry.
Exactly. So I'm wondering, what does welcoming and belonging look like within the sacrament of marriage? Would you encourage parishes and couples to celebrate the sacrament within a weekend celebration of the Mass?
So, marriage prep, again, evangelize. Here they are, a lot of times not practicing too hard, but here they are. So to help to form them and mold them and in the faith, and help them to kind of have a deeper appreciation for it and love for the Lord. Huge. We just can't miss those opportunities. And if people have sponsored couples that are part of that, really good. And Mary Ann, director of marriage and family for our diocese, Mary Ann Agnoli, she'll train them and and provides programs and things for marriage prep. People are involved in that to just do it really well. And okay, there's this marriage thing, obviously, but more than that. Give them more than that, and try to help them to kind of embrace their faith more. So really important. And then how we celebrate it is, and to do that very well, also, and it's hard because I don't know, people are focused on a lot of other things with weddings that aren't necessarily the ritual. There's all this these other things around it that can but to really do the marriage well, and they can celebrate the sacrament at a regular mass, and normally they don't, because they want to have a big thing, just its own thing. But when they do, sometimes it's a second marriage, maybe their spouses have died, or they went through RCIA and they feel really like they belong in the parish and they felt welcomed, and they want to kind of celebrate the community. It's hard. It's hard to get them to, but sometimes it's kind of a small parish, a rural parish. They're going to invite everybody from the town anyway to this thing. Yeah. So they want to have the weddings as late in the afternoon as possible. Well, okay, usually it's maybe 2, is because there's a vigil mass, and we'll have the vigil mass at 4. Yeah. And then everybody's coming anyway, and then then go to the reception after that. I wish more would do that. I don't know that we present it to. They don't even think about it. If we did, they would. They already have something in their mind when they call, and they have some dates in mind and what kind of a celebration they're expecting, and then it's going to be hard to change to get them to thinking about something differently. So you'd have to present this to them earlier. We don't do that. Nobody does that really, but really it's. I've had some of those. It's really great. I mean, it's very much more simple. It's kind of like you have a baptism at mass, or you have whatever at mass, anniversary celebration, or RCIA, or whatever we do at mass, or ordination. It's more secondary than the larger thing that's going on there. So they want their own day and everything kind of more around. Yes. But it can be really powerful. And people do feel like they belong more.
I think that's wonderful. What about, I know we've got 2 other sacraments to get through. What about the sacrament of ordination? That's such an inspiring public celebration that all are welcome to. So what are the elements of the sacrament that maybe could be enhanced even within this welcoming and belonging framework?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what. I mean, it's always well done. Yeah. So you've got you have good liturgy there, and there's priests and deacons from throughout the diocese and laity and the faithful, and they come ready to celebrate fully, actively, consciously. I don't know. Maybe we should invite more people to that to experience that. Yeah,
so they can see what what welcoming and belonging looks like. Right?
Yeah, no, because I'll always, hey, come to Chrism Mass. You've never done that before. Come to an ordination Mass, and right, even for vocations, getting young men to come that and check that out. But anybody in general too. You do feel more a part of things, of the local church, and just being a Catholic in general. Mm-hmm. So getting people to come to that, and
that's a big way to the welcoming and belonging. Yeah. And one last one then, anointing of the sick. How do we better engage the welcoming and belonging principles within this sacrament, which some people might view as open to close family, but not the greater community?
Well, so it's what they experience. Mm-hmm. Father comes and does this anointing. And it's just maybe there's nobody even there. Yeah. Or hopefully at least a couple family members, whatever. That's what they're used to. That's what we present to them. That's not how it's meant to be, I don't think. Yeah. If it has to be like that, it's kind of an emergency thing. Okay, obviously. Yes. But if you're ahead of time, and it takes more time to that's easy, kind of run around and do a bunch of anointings, but it could be at daily Mass. Somebody goes to Mass daily, or even if they don't. Beautiful. Just add it. It's not that much more. and to have the community there, it's way more powerful. 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, that whole
Yes.
thing. Or even Sunday Mass. Somebody's really active in the parish. Why not? We
Oh, I
never
think
do
that'd be
that.
great.
Some people are going to they don't want to do this public thing. Well, gosh, people want to celebrate this week. They want to be with you in
yeah.
prayer. So, and then another thing is, there's not just anointing. We
Right.
kind of, that's the sacrament of when somebody's dying. It's the sacrament of the sick. It's not the
Right.
sacrament of the dying. The sacrament of the dying is the viaticum,
Right.
the Eucharist. So, and here, and we don't celebrate that sacrament very much. Well, it's the Eucharist. It's not a separate sacrament, but we don't celebrate viaticum very much. But sometimes the person, the timing is important. The person is
Right.
still with it.
Yeah.
But here's an example how we could really help people feel like they're welcomed and to the church and that they belong. So there's somebody dying and they're very faithful practicing Catholics, and you've been walking with them, you've anointed them, okay, and now the family comes to the church and you celebrate a simple mass with the family and give them the sacrament for the last time, or you go to their house and here's all these kids that aren't practicing, right? And they're all concerned about, there they are, and that kind of an experience when their loved one is dying, the priest comes there.
That's beautiful.
Barb, I mean, we can do these things. Yeah, it takes time, but people don't know to ask for that, or we don't suggest it to them. We can do those things. We just don't. We do it the simple things, and we do it, this is the way you're supposed to do it. This is how we've always experienced it. But it's all a lot of it's dumbed down.
Yeah.
We can do it better.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Bishop. I really appreciate this look at welcoming and belonging within the 7 sacraments of the Catholic Church. Look forward to the next discussion next month.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Barb.
Thanks.